Hey, it's NPR's Book of the Day. I'm Andrew Limbong. It might not seem like it, but writing is a team sport. That's especially true if you're writing picture books. NPR producer Samantha Balban puts together this great series called Picture This, where she gets the collaborators of a kid's book together to talk about the creative process. We've got a couple of those pieces for you today. In a bit, we'll hear about Chooch Helped, which won the 2025 Caldecott Medal. But first, Papilio is a book about a caterpillar who undergoes some changes. The book is written by three friends, Ben Clanton, Corey R. Tabor, and Andy Chou Musser, who each took the lead on different parts of Papilio's transformation into a butterfly. And they talked about how they use their own different styles and techniques to make each phase feel different. After the break, NPR's Scott Simon sets up the plot a bit more, and then the three buddies take it from there.
Support for this podcast and the following message come from Indeed. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. Indeed's sponsored jobs helps you stand out. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed and get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/book. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
This message comes from Ritual. What makes Ritual vitamins different? Ritual vitamins are made with bioavailable, clinically studied key ingredients, as well as the essence of mint. Get 25% off your first purchase when you visit ritual.com/NPR.
Papilio is an enthusiastic and adventurous caterpillar.
Papilio can't wait to join the world. Today is the day, she decides. She bursts out of her egg.
And she becomes a chrysalis.
Growing up sure is weird sometimes, thinks Papilio. But as every caterpillar knows, you can't become a butterfly without first becoming caterpillar soup. C'est la vie.
Her main goal in life is to metamorphose into a butterfly and learn to fly.
Wow, that flower looks yummy. I haven't eaten in ages. I suppose I have to fly to get up there. But where do I start? Maybe like this? Nope, definitely not like this.
Papilio is a children's story told in 3 parts about 3 stages of life. And it's written and illustrated by 3 friends.
Most of the time.
That's right.
Yeah, we've known each other for a decade now, maybe plus.
For our series, Picture This, Ben Clanton, Corey R. Tabor, and Andy Chou Musser talk about their cross-pollination. Collaboration.
Andy and I were already making some books together, and we had so much fun doing that we went, what would happen if we added another friend into the mix?
When they asked me, I was surprised, but my answer was yes right away. It sounded like such a fun project, and I think in this line of work, just if something sounds fun, that's a good enough reason to try it, and that's where it started.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Corey. We talked to Corey one day, and he was like, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I had this idea of the stages of a butterfly, and we each write and illustrate a different stage.
Yeah, we wanted to do the project because it would just be a fun thing to do between the three of us, but we thought that there needed to be some kind of a reason for 3 authors and illustrators to work together on a project, and the butterfly just seemed like a perfect way to kind of justify that and for each of us to show off our own voice and illustration style.
So her name's Papilio. She's a black swallowtail butterfly, or Papilio polyxenus. Am I getting that right? I hope so. The choice of species to begin with, that was Andy.
Ben and Corey were super generous and let me have a lot of say in what butterfly that we went with because I was illustrating the final chapter. And I looked at a bunch of different butterflies and I thought, I want a fantastical looking butterfly, but I also want one that is maybe a little bit unexpected. And so I thought, what if we chose a butterfly that had almost no color at all?
So we started out with the caterpillar phase. I took on that section. This is Ben. There's 4 stages for a butterfly's life. We get a little bit of egg time in the caterpillar section. And it's really just about growing up. In the caterpillar phase, I was inspired by my youngest son and just this unstoppable wonder and curiosity he had. And I put a lot of that into Papilio's character as she's just entering this world.
Corey very courageously said that he would do the chrysalis section, which was a huge relief to me because that one seemed like the toughest nut to crack.
Yeah, I'd read somewhere when we were researching butterflies that when they go from caterpillar to chrysalis, they kind of dissolve into goo, and then they just kind of hang out for a week or so and rebuild their body. And the challenge with that was the character can't really do anything. She's just stuck inside of her chrysalis the whole time. So I think it was Ben or Andy who had the idea that the chrysalis itself would be going on this wild adventure while Papilio is completely oblivious inside. A bird has landed on her branch and is looking at her chrysalis, and then the bird grabs the chrysalis with her beak and flies off with it. And so then the bird fights with another bird over the chrysalis, and then the chrysalis goes flying through the air. So I kind of took that idea and just ran with it.
Something that I see within it is there's a lot of uncertainty, but having to just kind of accept that. Like, she is changing, but she can't impact the world around her. She just has to kind of trust in the process.
Yeah, I think that's probably something that's familiar to children too, that idea that things are happening around you and you're growing, and some of the time you just have to just go with it and see what happens. Originally, our idea was just change and transformation, the whole metamorphosis. And as we worked on it, it became more a story about growing up. And I think that kind of just happened naturally. The story changed as we worked on it.
In the butterfly section, this is Andy speaking. There's a part where Papilio is very disappointed. Papilio has to learn to fly. And flying is a lot harder than Papilio expected. And we needed an expression of that disappointment. And I couldn't think of one, and Corey had a great idea. He's like, what if Papilio curses by saying, sluggity slime?
Was that my idea?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can take credit for that. We had a meeting where we were trying to come up with the songs, and we had lots of ideas, but I think the ones that we went with were Andy's.
Yeah, I think I started those off. I really like to make up silly songs. When we had the idea to write songs for Papilio, I was very excited and had a lot of ideas. We don't have a melody or anything for Papilio songs, do we yet?
We never have.
I have a way that it sounds in my head, but do you guys each have ways that sounds in your head?
I think this one's on Ben. Go for it. Do you need the book? We have it here.
Okay. When turning into a chrysalis, she goes, got a full belly, time to turn to jelly. I imagine it's just like, like a little kid at that point, kind of just making up as she goes, time to unfurl, then give these wings a whirl.
Excellent. Bravo.
That's how it sounds in my head, at least. I think we all agreed at the beginning that we like hapless heroes. That helps set the tone a bit. And then Corey also had finished this piece of the chrysalis flying through the air. And that's where the palette, I think, kind of got established, where we're like, oh yeah, that's nice.
I would say color-wise, soft pastel tones, a bit impressionistic. Some areas are painterly. Some areas feature a lot of collage. Some areas use line work.
My section tends towards cartoony at moments. Cartooning is kind of my go-to.
Corey's section. Corey, what media do you use? I see, it looks to me like color pencil or maybe crayon.
Yeah, it's color pencil and watercolor. I think I wanted it to have kind of like a loose, wild feel to it to kind of match the adventure that the chrysalis goes on while Papilio's oblivious inside.
It has a very spring feel to me. Like, it feels like spring colors.
Oh, yeah. I did that on purpose. One idea is that we would kind of retain our own illustration style, and that the idea of that Papilio is changing, and so each stage of life, she sees the world a little bit differently, so it makes sense that the illustrations would change a little bit with her. We
each use some of our own supplies. In the case of the caterpillar stage, given that it was like this kind of toddler, new to the world, that I took a similar let's explore, play approach with art. I ended up using all sorts of things, anything I could get my hands on. Watercolors, ink, I did leaf pressings, stamps, markers, colored pencil, and collaged it all together.
For the butterfly section, I used gouache, which is a type of watercolor, and colored pencil. I was a bit stumped about how to write the ending. And then I learned a really helpful fact that butterflies, when they're born, they don't know how to fly. And it takes them some practice to learn how to use their wings. And that really informed how I wrote my section. I think Papilio really learns that it's okay to fail and that practice is really important and that being tenacious and trying something over and over again pays off.
One great takeaway from the book is Papilio's determination. Andy has a great section in his part where Papilio is like, I'm a butterfly and I am going to fly. And just that, like, I don't know, that determination is a great thing that you can take from this.
I think one of the things that Papilio discovers as she goes through this journey is that it's okay to have help, to find a friend. That's one of my favorite parts that ended up getting into the book is we have this mouse that reoccurs throughout all three parts. And that friendship, I think, reflects our own sort of friendship, too, in the making of the book.
I hope that readers enjoy the story and they have a fun time. And I hope it encourages them to collaborate with the people around them. And instead of seeing other people or friends as competition, seeing them as potential partners for making something new.
Andy Chou Musser, Ben Clanton, and Corey R. Tabor talking about their children's book, Papilio.
This message comes from Schwab. At Schwab, how you invest is your choice, not theirs. That's why when it comes to managing your wealth, Schwab gives you more choices. You can invest and trade on your own. Plus, get advice and more comprehensive wealth solutions to help meet your unique needs. With award-winning service, low costs, and transparent advice, you can manage your wealth your way at Schwab. Visit schwab.com to learn more.
It's funny what art gets made by coincidence and chemistry. For instance, the Caldecott winning picture book Chooch Helped only exists because Andrea L. and Rebecca Kunz happened to bump into each other at the Cherokee National Holiday. And, as they tell it, the two of them just clicked.
This is the baby. We call him Chooch. The word for boy or son in Cherokee is a choocha. The word for girl is ageyucha, but everyone just calls me Sissy. That's how it begins.
In the children's book Chooch Helped, Chooch is a 2-year-old boy who just is trying to be helpful.
Educci made grape dumplings. Chooch helped.
Chooch dumped the flour on the kitchen floor.
Logie planted a garden. Chooch helped.
Chooch pulled the plants out of the ground.
So Chooch Helped it's a sibling story.
Andrea L. is a sibling herself and a mother of siblings. She's also the author of Chooch Helped.
And so this story is about two siblings sort of figuring out their relationship. And of course, the older one has to lead because they're older, so they're the mentor. But they don't realize that until things kind of come to a head. And there's some yelling. But then there's forgiveness and there's understanding.
For our series, Picture This, Andrea L. and artist Rebecca Kunz talked about how, because of their chance meeting, Kunz not only illustrated her first ever children's book, but also joined Rogers in winning the 2025 Caldecott Medal for Chooch Helped.
It is wild and incredibly unusual and atypical, and I am in awe.
Pretty much every couple of days, I tell my husband, hey, you know what? A book I wrote won the Caldecott. So, because I don't know if I believe it yet.
Andrea and I met at the Cherokee National Holiday. She had a booth and she was doing book signings. She was in front of a gallery where I show my work in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. And we started talking. I realized that one of the books she had written was a book I had at home.
She told me who she was, and I said, oh, that's so funny because I'm about to sell another picture book, and I love your work. I've already sent pictures of your work to my editor this morning while I'm sitting here in front of the gallery.
And we just clicked, and everything came together after that. It was a very serendipitous meeting.
From there, she did some sketches, and I was like, this is perfect. She's amazing. And I knew that already, but I'm like, she is also the right person for this book. And part of that was also, there was stuff I didn't have to explain. Like if I mentioned what gigging was, she knew what gigging was, and she could show it.
My work involves many layers, a little bit of collaging, some painting, a lot of line work. I start with one layer and then I add layer on top of layer, and I add and subtract things as I go. I start with a color and a texture, and then I add another color and a texture on top of that. And sometimes the layers and textures are somewhat translucent. And then I collage in different elements. I draw part of it, and then I paint over that. And so it creates a lot of depth. This is a technique that I have developed over many years with my fine art. It just took some time to translate my style into work that would work for a children's book.
I love Rebecca's night scenes. There's the bicycle one where he's tuning it up and it kind of looks like it's sunset. You've got fireflies. And so I love that sky. And then the gigging scene, gigging for crawdads at night, which is, it's something that a lot of people do. And something we used to do. It's just going out and hunting for crawdads at night. So you're moving rocks around, and you can also gig for frogs or gig for fish. And so there's a really long pole. Traditionally, a blacksmith would have made sort of a fork, and then it goes on the end of a really long pole so that you can, reach things in the deeper water that you can see but maybe can't get to.
My siblings, my sister and brother, did not use the gigging forks to catch crawdads. They would just use their hands. And then they would put them in the fire and cook them, alive or dead. I'm not sure which. And so I was trying to pull out a lot of Oklahoma in this, because when I go back to visit, I just love the summer evenings with fireflies, and the sunsets in Oklahoma are very soft. And when I think of Oklahoma, where they're from, where we're from, Andrea and I think of that warm color palette, earth tones, warm colors. I wanted a lot of light and sun. And so those colors kind of came to me naturally when I thought of the characters in the story. And because it's a story of warmth and of love and sibling love, those colors seemed right for that.
The drawings, they are warm. It's like Frankoma pottery made with the red clay, right? And so to me, this is a very universal story. I thought about, when my kid helped make great dumplings and the kitchen was totally covered in flour afterwards. Even though I wasn't thrilled with cleaning up the flour, I wouldn't trade the chance to make great dumplings with my kid for anything. And so I was thinking about the things that we experienced in our lives and how we all make food. And a lot of us do have cultural traditions, which it takes a while for children to be able to be involved in a way that's less messy. And so, but if they're not involved from the beginning in their own culture, then when they grow up, they're not going to be as invested in their own culture. And so there has to be patience and grace on the part of everyone in a family for the family to work together.
I think for me, this book speaks a lot to kindness and care. And I think we need more of that than ever right now. And children need to see that and feel that. And tenderness is still okay for boys and girls. And we can have disagreements and still love each other and care for each other.
That was illustrator Rebecca Kunz and author Andrea L. Rogers talking about their Caldecott-winning children's book, Chooch Helped.
And that is it for this week on NPR's Book of the Day. Let us know what you think. You can write to us at bookoftheday@npr.org. I'm Andrew Limbong. The podcast is produced by Chloe Weiner and edited by Megan Sullivan. Our founding editor is Petra Mayer. The show elements for this week were produced and edited by Ashley Brown, Catherine Fink, Melissa Gray, Samantha Balaban, Julia Corcoran, Emiko Tamagawa, and Gabriel Donatov. Yolanda Sanguini is our executive producer. Thanks for listening.
This message comes from Jerry. Many people are overpaying on car insurance. Why? Switching providers can be a pain. Jerry helps make the process painless. Jerry is the only app that compares rates from over 50 insurers in minutes and helps you switch fast with no spam calls or hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Before you renew your car insurance policy, download the Jerry app or head to jerry.ai/NPR. This message comes from First Leaf. Summer days hit better when First Leaf takes care of the wine for you. First Leaf's short quiz figures out what you like, then delivers a summer-ready box. Bright whites, smooth reds, and chillable bubbles. No wine aisle guessing, no errands. Just personalized picks shipped to your door. Get your summer sip lineup at tryfirstleaf.com/summertime with promo SUMMERTIME. Your first 6 bottles are just $44.95 and are matched exactly to your taste. That's tryfirstleaf.com/summertime with promo SUMMERTIME.
This message comes from Ritual. What makes Ritual vitamins different? Ritual vitamins are made with bioavailable, clinically studied key ingredients and a patented nutrient delivery system that aims to help your body use the nutrients you're getting. Ritual's essential multivitamins are made with you and your body in mind and backed by scientific research, filled with key ingredients as well as the essence of mint so you can enjoy taking your vitamins. Get 25% off your first purchase when you visit ritual.com/NPR.